Hello, I'm Wyatt Kluver, and today I'm going to be doing my thermodynamics project. Um, if you haven't already noticed, I'm going to be doing mine on a coffee maker. And the reason why I decided to do mine on a coffee maker is because it has an excellent example of a bubble pump, or an airlift pump, which is, those two terms are pretty much interchangeable in this instance, so I'm just going to call it a bubble pump from here on out. And well, I've read about bubble pumps in some of my petroleum engineering classes, and I find them really cool because it offers an alternative to using an electric motor to pump a liquid vertically. So let's say you're at your house, right, and you're trying to get water from your reservoir, from the water in the ground in the reservoir to the sink in your kitchen or something like that. At your house, you're going to have an electric motor, which is just going to pump that water straight up, nice and easy, done, right? But in some applications, it's easier to inject a gas at the base of that vertical pipe, and that injecting that gas is going to do two things. It's going to do one, it's going to create, it's going to mix with that liquid. The gas and the liquid are going to mix. They're going to become a mixture, and that mixture is going to become less dense than just the regular liquid that it was. So it's going to expand because it's less dense and take up more volume and just more area or more volume in that tube. And then it's going to do the second thing that the gas is going to do is it's going to become like a seal or like a slug in that pipe. It's going to form big bubbles in that pipe. It's going to seal to the outer side of that pipe, and then it's going to rise up from the buoyancy forces that are going to be put onto that bubble, because when something's less dense than water and it's in water, it's going to float to the surface. So that bubble's going to try to rise up to the surface, and it's going to push all the water on top of it vertical, as well as then creating a vacuum effect underneath it and sucking it all up with it. So by injecting a gas, you're reducing the density of the liquid by creating a liquid gas mixture. That's going to cause it to take up more volume, and then you're also going to be driving that whole liquid gas mixture vertical using the bubbles, because using buoyancy. Now, the reason why I started talking about a bubble pump to start with is because, well, there is an excellent implementation of one in here. And before I get to that, I'll just run you through the basics of this whole coffee maker here. You have really only a couple of necessary components. You have a water reservoir where you put in your cold water to start brewing your coffee. You have tubing that flows down to the heating element, then it's going to flow back around, and it's going to go vertical up over to your shower head there, and then that's going to drip down into your coffee grounds and actually brew your coffee. Now, you might have seen why I started talking about that bubble pump earlier, because the reservoir is lower than the exit where you want your boiled water to leave. Your inlet is lower than your outlet. So in order to get a flow through the tubing to where you want it to go, you're going to have some sort of pump to create a driving force through the tubes to create that flow of current through the tubes to where you want it to go. Now, they could have used a motor to do that, but instead they used the heating element to do that as well. So the heating element here is going to do a whole lot of things, but I'll just describe with the whole pump mechanism of it first. So the water is going to flow down from the reservoir. It's going to flow under that hot plate. The hot plate is going to heat that water. It's going to cause it to boil. It's going to cause that phase change there to turn into that gas. And in doing so, it's creating that bubble pump effect. You're not injecting a gas into it, but instead you're creating that gas there. So you're getting the same effect out of it. That gas is then going to do the whole expand the whole mixture. It's going to expand the liquid gas mixture, and then it's also going to be that driving force of the current through the whole system. And it's really sleek and it's really elegant. Instead, they could have used an electric motor and a hot plate, but instead they decided to do it this way because instead of having two electronical components that could have failed, a motor and a heater, why not just have a single point of failure being that heater? That also makes it, the whole design here, easier to manufacture, cheaper to produce, and well, a more reliable design. And in my opinion, it makes it an extremely elegant design, and that's why I think that the whole bubble pump idea is just ingenious. Because all you're doing, all the work you're putting in, is just plugging it into a wall and just letting that hot plate, which is just a resistor, you're forcing that current from the wall through that resistor, forcing it to heat up, keep that hot plate warm so you have your warm cup of coffee for later. But then you're also heating the water so you can make that cup of coffee. You're also creating those bubbles to force that current through the whole system, and it's simplistic and it's really well designed. That's why I think it's amazing, because like yet again, if you're trying to do, I don't know, some sort of thermodynamics kind of equations here, you only have one. You have your energy going in, which is your hot plate, your current from the wall. You have your energy coming out from radiation and stuff like that. You have only one inlet of like a solid inlet, which is just the liquid water that's coming into your system, and all that's coming out is your heated water and maybe a little bit of steam. That's it. So it's not complicated, it's simplistic, and it's just a really nice example of, well, a liquid pump, or I'm sorry, not a liquid pump, a bubble pump, or a airlift pump. And yeah, I think coffee makers could have been a whole lot more complicated, but after looking into it, it's just a really nice design, and I kind of like it. Thank you for listening, and yeah.